let's get into it.
We'll go ahead and start. So, Darby, who'd you get to talk to today?
Just because of things that are kind of going on right now, I turned to a man that I love so much. I obviously met him when I was doing the BOONE show, and we have been fast friends all the years through. I got to work other projects with him and just get to hang with him and always enjoy this man's company. And I got to enjoy it earlier today when I asked him if he would please just have a good word for everybody for this year and how it's going to start. Because I don't know what you can say about Rosey. He goes from the fearsome foursome, which for those non-football fans and maybe from a certain era don't know, were the steel curtain of their time. They were the first ones, and all of them, but very tragically and unfairly, the other three are all in the Hall of Fame and Rosey isn't, but we're still working on that because he should be. And then he just becomes, a man of God. For those of you that don't know, he's the one that tackled Sirhan after he shot Bobby Kennedy at the hotel. But not only did he tackle him, but it was in the kitchen and there was an immediate mob that was there, and they just shot, who everybody came and saw as a young savior and everything. As we see today, sometimes emotions get high. They all started in on Sirhan and wanting to kill him and picking up knives to do it and everything else. And Rosey stepped in front of him and said, no, that is not the way we do it in America. This is not the way. We will turn him in. He will see his day in court. So that's just, and now he's such a great man of God and everything. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Let's hear from Rosey and his beautiful, lovely wife, Cindy, as they share a message with the darlings and dudes. Rosey, I want to thank you so much for sending me those great words. And can I see the ball again? Because what an honor that is. Is it there?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about things?
We just got it the other day.
There it is.
Hold it up.
Can you hold it a little bit higher so we can see it?
Oh, wow.
Look at that. First win, SoFi Stadium, and they presented the ball to Rosey Grier. Is that fabulous?
That's awesome.
Yes. Well, come on. All you meant to the Rams, the fearsome foursome. Yeah. And you know what? Look here. I got another picture I want to show you. This is Rosey and I stepping out for the evening. How do you like that picture? My head's cut off. It's not that good of a picture. I'll go. Well, Rosey, the main thing I would love, because, ever since I met you on the BOONE set, and here you were this big, burly bear of a man, and just the most gentle giant I know, except for that time that you did try to teach me football between takes. We were playing with the crew. I don't know if you remember this, but I certainly do. You said, okay, Darby, I'm going to fake the ball this way and then turn and hand you the ball as you run through and you go that way. But first we'll fake this way, then I'll hand you the ball. I'm all, okay, let's go, Rosey. They said hike. You turned and faked this way and then turned and implanted the ball into my stomach, lifting me about 3 feet off the ground. But I hung on to that ball. I love it. I had so much fun with you. And in the other movie we did where the scuba diving and the swimming, I love you. All these years, it's great. So what I'm asking, because I know what a man of God and what a man of love and peace you are. So you show both sides, the strength and the love and the compassion. If you could just say a few great words about this year we're going into, and any words of love or anything you're inspired to say to the darlings and dudes.
Love is large and incredibly patient. Love is gentle and consistently kind to all. Love does not brag. Love is not easily irritated, nor thinks no evil. Love joyfully celebrates honesty. Love is a safe place of shelter. Love believes the best of others. Love never gives up. You're precious. You're valuable. You are unique. You're one of a kind. There's no one in the world like you.
Well, I loved your message on love, Rosey, and it's absolutely right. And I think, to quote another person, I think it's what the world needs a little more of right now. What the world needs now. No, I promised I wouldn't sing. But it is true. You know, I was blessed to go to school on a ship that circled the world. And one of the things I got to study was world religion. And I went into all these different little cultures and got to study a lot of different religions and beliefs and everything. And the one thing that really ran through, and it's mentioned once or twice in our Bible, is love conquers all. Love is, love is the answer. Love is love. It's even another name for Jesus is love. But anyway, not to say that. Thank you, Rosey, for doing that. All right. So tonight, to please my sister, and also it's an episode I like too, because it was with young Rosebud, the little deer, and I might find a picture when I first got to meet him. But we have a fun episode, right? When I became a man, I put away childish things.
So, was Rosebud the actual deer's name, or did the deer have a real name? This was its stage name.
Bambi. I don't remember what the name was.
Oh, you went off again, Darby. What'd you hit?
Why did I go off? There we go. It seems if I pound the desk, I go off. Yeah, no, I know somebody asked that. How did the name come about? I have no idea. It was in the script, Rose. But at the time, I don't think I'd seen Citizen Kane, so I certainly didn't make the connection.
Citizen Kane, I was thinking it was more like the yearling, isn't it? Oh, you mean Rosebud and Citizen Kane. That's right. Somebody did say that.
Yep.
But so where was this episode shot? Was this all shot on the stage, or was this actually shot out somewhere? Do you even remember?
Most of it, again, was shot at the corner of Sunset and Western Avenue. I'll look and see if some of it was shot on location, but I know that's where a lot of it was shot. Especially the shots with the panther and stuff. Not to give any of it away.
That panther got a lot of work on your show. The wolves or the panthers and all that. So, all right, I guess we'll go ahead and get.
We had a lot of fun with a lot of those animals. One time, I'll tell you the story of Patricia Blair and the bear in her dress. Anyway, that's a story for another time. Let's watch this episode.
All right. So this episode is called When I Became a Man, I Put Away Childish Things. Its air date was February 9th, 1967, only 2 weeks before my birthday, my real birthday. My birthday. I'm sorry, Darby. Couldn't resist. Anyways, it was directed by Earl Bellamy, and the story was by Jack Guss, and the teleplay is by Joel Bernard. So this first segment is about 18 minutes long. So we'll be back in about 18 minutes. We'll have 2 breaks tonight and then the end. So again, if anybody's new, we don't post in the chat. If you have questions for Darby, post them in the Q&A. That's the best place for me to be able to see them. And
one other word, Rosey also gave us a song that he really loves and blessed us with. And that's the way we'll go out this evening, is Rosey singing us a beautiful song. So stay tuned.
That'll be at the very, very end of our show. So Darby doesn't want anybody to leave early, so that's why he teased it so far ahead.
Don't you leave.
Don't go away. We got some bonus items at the very end.
You got to help the deer and Israel.
All right, so here we get started with, this is a long title. When I Became a Man, I Put Away Childish Things.
What's that?
I don't know, Ma.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
A frog croak.
Will that bell ring?
Oh, I'll wager that boy brought that creature along to church.
Form his hags,
Yeah, Lucky.
Like the pastor's gonna have a pretty fair turnout.
Oh, I reckon they're here as much for the show as salvation. Him being new and all.
Nervous?
Do I look it?
You oughtn't to be. You look just fine.
And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. Corinthians 13:2.
Let the heathens be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Joel 3:12.
Heathens. Polly, they prayed with axes in their hands and a packet of seed.
Like the noble savage. We'll be just like them in time.
Are you sorry we left Bethlehem?
Andrew, no.
Oh, look at your hands. You've been in the fields again.
Would you like me to be crocheting samplers? Yesterday, the corn was more than an inch high.
You promised me you wouldn't.
Andrew, I am not some Connecticut belle that you treat like a child. I knew we'd have to do our own planting and hoeing if we expected to eat. Besides, the child isn't due until autumn.
And by then, we'll have a full harvest.
They're waiting. You'd better get.
You sound more cane tuck every day.
And not too softly, Andrew.
As sounding brass. Good morning. For my text today, I thought it fitting to quote from Genesis.
He's scared. Hush, Israel.
Then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. For blessed are those who till the soil and reap their own harvests. Who but the founder of husbandry could think this way? In the dawn of creation, man was a nomad wandering the earth in search of a plot of land he could call his own. The Israelites who settled in Canaan can be likened to the wanderers who braved the perils of the Cumberland Pass to settle in Boonesboro, our Canaan. As today, their villages became walled towns in which farm families lived during the winter. Boundary stones were respected and men lived in peace side by side. The cultivating of land was highly regarded among the Hebrews. Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind. Cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the field after his kind. And it was so. Who belongs to this creeping thing?
Me, sir.
Israel Boone?
Yes, sir.
What do you call it?
Just Frog, sir.
May I suggest Genesis? Now, Israel, will you promise to bring him every Sunday?
Yes, sir.
Good. When I became a man, I put away childish things. But who among us knows when that time has come?
the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe. The rippin'est, roarin'est, fightin'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. What a Boone, what a doer, what a dream come truer was he.
With a fawn to look after, you think that boy wouldn't have to tote a frog to church.
Well, I don't think anybody got too riled up over that, Becky.
Well, how do you imagine I felt when that creature almost landed in Sarah Kimball's bonnet?
Might have improved the looks of it at that.
Daniel Boone, if you aren't aiming to give that boy a tannin.
You will.
Well, the pastor must think we're raising a little savage.
Well, it seems to me that Andrew Cooper should be mighty grateful to Israel.
Grateful?
Well, sure, it's not every Sunday a green preacher gets to practice a christening on a frog.
Daniel?
Pa! There's something inside. I heard it. Rosebud! You know cornbread isn't good for you, Rosebud.
I suppose it's too rich for her blood.
Her coat was getting kind of dull, Ma.
Is that all you have to say about that young man?
Well, for a minute there, I thought we were being raided by the Shawnees. Kind of nice knowing it was only Rosebud.
Did you hear what he said, Dan?
I reckon we're lucky at that.
Did you talk to him?
And we talked.
How'd he take it?
Becky,
Dan, you didn't tell him he had to get rid of Rosebud, did you?
well, a boy has to have something to look after.
That fawn ruined our Sunday supper, turned our home into a shambles. And do you call that looking after it?
Well, no, but I couldn't put all the blame on Israel.
Well, who's to blame?
Maybe I haven't spent all the time I could have with him lately.
Dan, you're only blaming yourself to keep the boy from hurting. I have to admit, it was a small, furry thing when he found it. A play toy he could hug and run with. But the fawn is not that now, Dan. It's wild and mischievous and...
Like him. He's growing too, Becky. He's straining to break free.
He's a child.
The biggest piece of him is yet. There's an awful lot of him itching for manhood.
When's he gonna learn he can't keep all that wildness tamed forever?
I don't know. But that's something he's gonna have to learn all by himself.
You're tired.
After only 8 rows, you must think I'm made of taffy.
11.
That many? Well, we'll have the whole field planted by nightfall.
Oh, no, we won't. You sit and rest.
On this lovely furrow. And after tucking each precious kernel of corn in with my own bare hands.
Come on now. Oh. I never dreamed it could be this bountiful. The earth, people in Boonesboro, and you.
You keep on like that, Reverend, and you're going to be bursting with humility.
Pride goeth before a fall.
You look stern enough, but inside you're grinning from ear to ear.
Ear corn to ear corn, Polly. Oh, if I didn't try them out on you, how could I spare my congregation?
They liked you yesterday.
You think so?
The Bishop of Boston couldn't have handled it with more authority.
I was rescued by a boy and a frog. It provided a stirring parable. And here's one for you, my good wife. Go home and rest. Looks like Israel's fawn.
It's gone. It's all gone.
Can't you see I'm busy, Rosebud?
You keep feeding her, and we never will get this fence finished.
How high up do you think we have to go, Pa?
A lot higher than we have here.
Just don't seem right. Keeping a tame fawn cooped up like that.
You know we have to do it, don't you?
I suppose so. That's what you get for breaking in uninvited.
Morning, Mr. Boone. Israel?
Morning.
Morning, Reverend.
Well, it seems a powerful hot day to be splitting rails, Mr. Boone.
Pa and me are building us a pen to keep Rosebud in. She's kind of my little brother.
I can see she's fond of you.
I expect that's true, sir. Seeing I give her about as much loving as she can stand.
Well, I'm sure glad you came by, Reverend. Gives me an excuse to stop work for a while. Can I tempt you with a swallow of something cool?
Oh, no, Mr. Boone. Thank you.
Well, you didn't come all the way across that clearing to tell me I was backsliding, did you?
Do I wear my adversity that meanly, Mr. Boone? It looks like a stout pen. How's Genesis?
Genesis? Oh, you mean my frog. Growing by leaps and bounds, sir.
A witty lad, Mr. Boone. Well, good day to you both.
Oh, Reverend.
I like him, Pa.
I like him too, Israel.
Why do you suppose he came by?
Oh, he strikes me as a man with something on his mind, not quite ready to let go of it.
A minister with troubles? He ain't supposed to have any, is he, Pa?
Not small ones, anyway.
Oh, good night, darling.
Good night, Ma. You wouldn't change your mind about Rosebud bedding down with me, would you?
Now, we've been all through that, Israel.
It would only be the last night. Pa and me almost got the rails high enough.
Now, you saw what she did to the house.
That's because she was lonesome. She wouldn't be with me.
Way you treat her, I don't think she even knows she's a dear.
She's gonna be real scared out there by herself.
She'll be all right. I know it. Come on, under the covers with you. Good night, my angel.
Good night, Mom.
Sweet dreams.
Rosebud. Take it easy. You gotta hold still, Rosebud. If I'm gonna get you loose, ain't no reason to be this scared of the dark. Now hold still, will ya? You're gonna wake Mom for sure. You be scared.
It's real.
Reckon we got us a painter, huh, Pa?
Yeah, I reckon we did, boy. Israel, what you did took a lot of courage.
I didn't think too much about it, Pa. She was scared of the painter and she needed protection. We didn't mean to wake you, Mom. You're safe now, Rosebud. We'll always be together.
All right, how long did it take to get that frog to actually jump on cue? Like, I saw you shake him out of your pocket, but he actually seemed to jump
I was
cue.
trying to help him out there a little bit, wasn't I? Come on, we're burning airtime here. Let's go.
Do you remember doing that scene? Did it take a while to
You know,
film
listen,
that, or no?
it's one of the reasons I love doing this. The memories, the first guy that Fess talks to walking, excuse me, that Daniel talks to walking into the fort, Hal. I think that's all I remember him by was Hal. He was the script guy, which means he was the guy that stood by the camera, that had the script, that corrected everybody if they didn't say the lines that were in the script, and he would go over it. And he did a lot of the Shirley Temple movies. And I don't know how many times I heard, if I didn't know the line, you know, Shirley Temple would have known the lines. She knew everybody's lines. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Oh, but it was fun to see Hal. And that jacket, the frog jump, I don't think I wore that jacket many other times. I think that was a special frog jacket.
Costume designer had to create that just so the frog would have something to jump out of.
And how great to see Bewitched's, future husband.
Yeah, I was asking about, that's Dick York.
Right.
There was Dick, they were both Dick somebody, but he was Dick York, right? Somebody chime in here and confirm that for me. They're very quiet tonight, seems like.
Wait a minute, you, Ginger, you're the one that always does the research and knows.
You had me doing the Rosey Grier research today, so I was busy doing that.
And you found out that the Rosey Grier show I did with him is not in the UCLA archives.
Well, you know what? Now when she was saying the interview, though, she said that there's a bunch of them in the vault. So maybe those are the only ones that they have actually transferred, but that they have the whole entire collection. So I think if you tell her the exact, like if I'll send you the info of the season and the actual episode, maybe she can request that one by name and number.
And of course, the question is, what did they store them on?
Well, she kept saying the big silver reels, which makes me think that's one. If it's tape, it would be 1-inch tape, but if it was film, then it would actually be a film reel. But I know when I first worked Master Control years ago, because I wasn't the 60s, so I don't think they had tape like a cassette tape. I don't know. But anyway, did we lose everybody? Oh, there we go. Dick Sargent.
reel to reel.
So was that Dick York or was that Dick
No,
Sargent that we saw?
That was Sargent, I believe.
Okay. Well, thank you, Susan, for confirming that for us. So I have a question. Why did you say about the deer that she's kind of my little brother? But you're calling the deer a she, right?
Because it was in the script.
Oh. So you did know your line, so Hal wouldn't yell at you, right?
Well, and probably with the networks, I couldn't say this is my little sister because she comes sleep in the bed with me. You know, it's just like Dan Haggerty, who, you know, just so you know, of course, I have Dan with me tonight because, you know, he keeps me in the party mood. But just like they wouldn't let Dan, and the bear was female, but they couldn't call the bear female. It had to be Ben, a boy's bear, because they couldn't have Dan with a female bear up in the woods. Although when we did the tribute to him, it was so funny because he kept calling the little girl, come on into the cabin. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. In this day and age, it would have been super creepy. They probably would have never let him get away with that. Oh, dear. But you looked like you were doing pretty good building that fence with your string. And
Yeah. And of course, you know, between me and Dan, we really thought that a fence that Israel could jump over, that the deer wasn't going to be able to jump over. But
when Dick Sargent or Dick York, whatever, walks up and the pastor walks up, it looks like you tripped over the deer trying to get past the deer to get to your mark. Is that what you were trying to do?
Oh, I know. That poor deer. It was a sweet deer too. And unfortunately, the first time I met him, or her, excuse me, and she was smaller then because she even had the dots on them. I think I have pictures of her, but they lose the dots pretty quick. They pulled me out of a scene and said, come here, you got to meet, you know, and I'm sorry, I don't remember whatever the real deer's name was, but you got to meet her. And I was taking off my fringe jacket because it was hot, had it over my shoulder. I'm like, oh, and I bent down and the whole jacket with all the fringe and everything just like rolled off me and kind of hit, and which freaked the little doe out, which of course it should have. And we really had to spend a lot of time getting a relationship where I could work around her and be it that we were pets and stuff, pets and friends. And
I thought you were going to say she started chewing on the fringe. Tried to eat your jacket.
Hannibal did that a few times. He'd be sitting there like, you know, what? We got to do a Hannibal one too. Oh my goodness.
I know everybody keeps asking about that. We're putting, just so everybody knows, we're putting our schedule together and so we can stick to the 2 of these a month. Hopefully we'll do at least one Daniel Boone a month and one other a month.
Guest star.
So if anybody has, a special guest star, whether that's a Daniel Boone but we've got something planned for the second part of this month, and we've got both, I think, already scheduled for next month. So that's good. So we're actually ahead. Yay! We're ahead of the game.
Hopefully, I can't announce it yet, but hopefully something really fun and Thursday after next.
Yes. So in 2 weeks. So put that on your calendars. Let's see. Does nobody has any questions about this? I guess everybody's.
And let's see what happens to the deer. Let's go. We spent a lot of time.
I am curious though why the deer. She thinks the deer like ate her whole entire field and they never noticed.
I did notice. First of all, when I saw that, I thought, wow, the prop guy had to do a lot of plowing that day. And my second thought was that little deer had a big stomach if it ate all that corn.
I think where's all his little buddies at that point? They would have called them all in, but I guess not. But there wouldn't be a good story without it. So, so what'd you decide to drink on? Are you having some Adam's Ale or are you?
On with the show.
All right. Well, this next segment is actually going to be 2 segments run together. So it is going to be a total of 16 minutes long. So when it dips to black, don't panic. We'll be coming back to the second, and we'll be back with more Q&A with Darby Hinton from When I Became a Man, I Put Away Childish Things.
It seems to me that you'd at least have time to eat your breakfast.
You did promise to get me up at daybreak.
With the little sleep you've had this past week?
Had to be done.
Redone, you mean, and all on account of that fool fawn.
Oh, now, Polly, we're not sure of that.
Andrew, we saw the tracks clearly.
It could have been a wild deer.
I suppose that's true, but you still could have told them.
It seemed pointless. They were building a pen to keep the animal from running free. If it was the boy's fawn, she won't molest us again.
I'll be coming out to help.
You've got enough to do here.
It won't harm me when the sun wanes a little.
But there's no need to. It's half done with. Why, with some luck, I'll have 20 more rows planted by nightfall.
I'll still be coming.
With a pail full of parched rye and chestnuts you call coffee. Why, if some of that spills, it'll wilt our crops.
And I was thinking of baking my husband a pumpkin pie.
Where did you get that?
We've needed it long before this.
I can't.
Then I will.
I don't even know how to use it.
Then learn. Andrew, we have the right to protect what's ours.
By killing?
It's better than facing a winter of starvation.
I would rather die than destroy a living creature.
This is the wilderness, my husband, not Boston.
Is one allowed to adjust one's principles in accordance with geography?
If it means our survival, yes.
I can't live that way!
Then tell Boone.
To destroy the deer for me? And with it a boy's heart. Where are you going?
I'm carrying a child, Andrew. Our child. Perhaps you can find it in yourself to forgive me for thinking that it cannot feed on piety.
Do it, Israel.
Looks like we got company, Ma.
Company? Oh, it's a pastor's wife. Oh, and look at me, Dan.
Well, Rebecca, she's seen soap being made before.
Good morning, Mrs. Boone.
Good morning, Mrs. Cooper. We're right proud to have you visit us. Hope you're not sensitive to the smell of lye. Israel, go fetch some water.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I won't stay. And it's likely you won't want me after you hear what I have to say.
Well, what is it, Miss Cooper?
It's about your deer.
You mean Rosebud?
Yes. I'm afraid the animal has been eating our corn.
She wouldn't do nothing like that.
It's so, boy. And it's not the first time.
But she's been in that pen.
Now, hold on a minute, Israel. Is that what your husband came over the other day to talk about?
He meant to, but he couldn't, knowing it was the boy's pet.
Well, how can you be sure it was Israel's fawn?
It couldn't have been, Pa. It just couldn't have been.
Hush, Israel.
I truly wish it weren't. The tracks were clear and they led to this cabin.
When was this?
This morning.
Miss Cooper, we built that pen hoping to keep her in.
It seems impossible that she could jump it, but what other explanation could there be?
Rosebud couldn't clear that rail. That's why we built it, didn't we, Pa?
She could surprise us, son.
Israel, didn't you have Rosebud out of her pen this morning?
Yes, ma'am. But she was with me every minute.
But the boy could be mistaken. He could have turned his back or forgotten.
Did you, son?
I never took my eyes off her, Pa. Honest.
Israel wouldn't lie, Mrs. Cooper.
If what you say is true, I suppose we'll have to kill the fawn.
I came here knowing that.
You couldn't, Pa. You just couldn't.
Israel, winter's coming on. These folks have got their lives staked on that crop.
But we still ain't sure she did it, Pa.
I suppose there's a way we could find out. If you were to call to Rosebud, she'd try pretty hard to come to you, wouldn't she?
Yes, sir. But there ain't much chance of her doing that. Is there?
Well, that's something we're going to have to prove to Mrs. Cooper.
I guess so.
Why don't you go over there by that tree and call to her? Go on, son, call her.
Rosebud!
She's gonna want to hear you.
Rosebud! Don't do it, Rosebud. Don't do it. Why'd you come, Rosebud? Why'd you come?
I'm sorry, Israel.
If we was build the rails higher,
Before we got it finished, she'd bust out and do it all over again. There never was any use, son. We've just been fooling ourselves, thinking we could keep her a fawn forever.
what do you aim to do, Pa?
Well, there's nothing you can do that would comfort you. So I reckon I'll just take her out in the woods and...
No! I'll get her lost. I'll take her so far out she won't know how to get back.
You know she would. She's been tainted with petting, Israel. She's too wild to keep and too tame to lose.
Seems like she just growed up overnight.
Yeah, I know.
I guess there's no more use talking about it.
Yeah, it seems like we've just about talked it out.
Couldn't do it, Pa. I just couldn't look at her and shoot her.
I never intended for you to.
Let me take one more walk with her, Pa. Just one.
It won't make it any easier.
It's just to say goodbye.
All right.
This is the church, Rosebud. I guess we better do some praying. Reckon you'd better stay out here till I'm finished. I ain't much of a hand at praying, Lord. And I ain't asked for much in the way of blessings. Except to protect Ma and Pa and Mingo from the Shawnee. Oh, and what's a Christmas time for snow when it was late in coming? Another time to help keep the multiplication tables tucked inside my head. Yep, that was about it. But this time, God, I'm aiming for more than a blessing. I've got to have me a miracle. Something that comes with a bolt of lightning and a clap of thunder. It's for my friend Rosebud. Wait long for this world unless you come a-running. Amen.
I heard your prayer, Israel.
I didn't mean for you to. Come on, Rosebud.
I prayed too, Israel. I truly did.
For her to get shot?
I can understand your feelings.
No, you can't. You don't belong here, and you never will. I hate you. Come on, Rosebud. do it. Just won't. You'll have to kill me before I do. You know what we're gonna do, Rosebud? We're gonna run away, that's what. You and me together. We're gonna travel so far even God won't know where we are. Unless we tell him. And the way I feel, he's gonna have to find out for himself. What'll Ma say when she sees this? How's she gonna scold us if we ain't coming back? And we ain't, are we, Rosebud? Hey, wait a minute. Am I following you or you following me? When you run away from home, you gotta have a leader. And being you're only a deer, I'm gonna be doing the leading. Now, come on. Come on. You as thirsty and as tired as me? Hey, Rosebud! Wait a minute! Well, I was heading for the stream, wasn't I? I was just resting up there. Well, I didn't say you couldn't be leader once in a while. But just remember, I'm still in command. Paul said, fast running stream where the sun can get through is where plants grow. And that's a good feeding place for animals. We might catch us a raccoon or a beaver, maybe even a porcupine. But you gotta hide out and wait till they come, you understand? First, I better cut me a pointy hickory stick. These wild turnips are good eating. Ain't bad, Rosebud. Thought they wouldn't go down, but there was some crusty cornbread or a chunk of bacon. It'll be over soon, Rosebud. No use being scared over it. I know I was asking for a miracle, God, but you don't have to boast about it.
You soaked through?
Oh, not too bad. Started up just after I left the Squire's.
Well, if Israel's putting Rosebud in her pen, I expect we could have her sleep in the house one more night.
Isn't he here?
I thought he was with you. Stay by the fire, I'll go. Evening, Pastor.
Evening, Mrs. Boone. Daniel?
You've come about Israel.
Yes.
Then he's with you.
No. I was hoping to find him here. I wanted to speak to him.
Oh, Daniel.
Now, Becky, suppose he did mean to run off. He couldn't have gone very far.
I'm afraid this is all on my account. He came to me, and I had no answer. He cried for help, and I was dumb, speechless.
Well, you can't hold yourself to blame for that, Pastor. But I reckon I should start out to find him.
I'll need some food and some muslin for bandages. He's hurt.
Don't worry, Becky. He knows a lot about the woods and caring for himself.
But the rain will wash away the tracks.
It'll also slow him down.
I want to come, Daniel. I may not be much help, but I promise I won't hinder you none.
Well, if it'll make you feel better, Pastor, you're welcome to come along.
Thank you.
Bring him home safe, Dan.
Don't worry, Becky.
All right, so that was definitely not on the stage when you were outside. So where was that shot?
Oh, that was all on the stage.
No.
Yeah.
When
in
you
the
guys
rain.
are drinking from the river and all that?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're right. I was thinking on the stage with the rain and stuff. All the rain stuff was on a stage. But you're right. No, the other was at what's now Malibu State Creek Ranch Farm, State Park, Malibu State Park. It was the old 20th Century Fox back lot. Everything from Planet to the Apes to MASH, everything that's was Fox's back lot whenever they had to go outdoors. I would love the outreel if I could ever find it. Daniel and I were running across a field to go get, being chased by some Indians or something. And there was like a 3-camera shoot, a long camera, second camera, and then little hidden cameras. And we're running, and all of a sudden, this Huey helicopter comes, doo, 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 doo. It comes and lands in the field in the clearing right there. We're like, first I look at each other, we kind of walk over, and the guy yells out, "Is this the MASH set?" We're like, "No, it's over there. Thanks." Doo, 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 doo.
That's funny.
Oh, God. You gotta love it. Hollywood.
Well, Nancy,
Fun place to grow up.
I guess, so you've told us time and time again. Nancy Johnson says, "Okay, not crying anymore. Good scene, Darby." She's referencing the scene when you're at the church.
Oh,
That was pretty heartfelt, but you were just send the lightning and the thunder. Now, as a kid, because you're what, probably 10 years old when this episode was done? 8, 9? How old are you? Think
no, it's probably 10. Because I had the knife in the boot. Oh, that was a biggie.
Oh, that's how you were able to gauge it.
I tried for a couple of years to get the knife in the boot like Pa. I should have one of those. And and they even gave me a sharp one because I was cutting that turnip. Did you see that? That was.
Oh, you're also cutting the stick too. You were making.
Yeah, no. So they had given me a sharp knives to play with by then.
Well, as a kid, that must have been the topic had to be kind of devastating that they're telling you to shoot this, that you're going to have to kill this deer. Was that tough for you or did you know that's just Hollywood? And I'm guessing it all works out in the end. You probably figure that out.
Looking at a man with a coonskin cap on his head with the face of the coon looking at.
Yeah, but you're not, you weren't friends with the raccoon before you were stuck it on your head.
I had a number of little banditos, little raccoons growing up.
And that didn't make you feel guilty wearing the hat? Because poor Kathy Ellis Stone said, "I'm a big animal lover, so this is destroying me. I'm the type person that doesn't mind violence in a movie as long as no one hurt the family dog." Well, so Kathy, I was going to say, we are sort of with you on that one. I don't think we want this deer to get killed.
Not a Turner and Hooch fan, I take it.
And Susan, of course, commented, Darby's back in the rain, which you were back in the rain. Pamela Riley
I
Pavkovich is
also
the same
noticed I
question.
was always buttoned up very tight. I seem very stiff in that thing.
Well, you look like you're still in your church clothes. You're not in your usual, wearing the vest and the little
And,
button up. You're in your
and
little
can
church
I
clothes.
say what wonderful makeup ladies both Becky Boone and the preacher's wife had? I mean, you know, for being out there in the wilderness and tending the fields and everything else, their hair and makeup sure look good.
Well, they're
Even
like
when-
Scarlett O'Hara, just pinch the cheeks for your rouge. And
I mean, even when Becky was saying, "Oh no, I'm doing lye, I can't," you know, she was still looking pretty good, I'd say.
that was gross. Well, you guys weren't really making soap. Is that really how soap is made?
Probably. I
it was
don't know
soap.
what they were doing, but yeah.
Let's see. So how did you get, because you said you had a rough start with the deer. So how did you, it looks like you were very chummy with the deer as it went on. I mean, did you have to feed him snacks to entice him? Was he eating carrots or?
We definitely had to build a better working relationship there. And that usually goes through food.
So what were you bribing him with? Was it carrots or was it?
Carrots, little biscuits, things. You know, I have pictures in the book, I didn't bring them up here, where they have the rosebud kiss. And I saw they started to do it in one of the shots, but they didn't go all the way to the kiss. Maybe it was too provocative back then for NBC. That's where I put a grape in my mouth, and you show the deer the grape, and then the deer comes in to get the lips and get the grape out of your mouth, and it looks like the deer is giving you a kiss.
So was the animal handler who owned this deer the same guy who owned the bear and all the other animals? Like, was it the same
You
company?
mean the one they had me do the same thing to the baby bear cub? When my mom came around the corner and saw a baby bear that was about, you know, that big trying to get a grape out of my mouth with its claws. Yeah, that was one of her more fun days on the set. She didn't do stage mom tantrum that much, but that day she was not a happy camper.
But was it the same company that would handle all the animals? Do you know?
You know, I would have said yes, and maybe it was an assistant, but I found a picture of Rosebud's handler, and it was not the Cap, you know, who was Benji's and Hannibal's. So I don't know if they changed at that point, or maybe it was just one of his helpers that specialized in deer at the time.
Gotcha. Well, that makes sense. Here's a good question. Oh, here first, Pamela wants to know, was that turnip bitter tasting? So was that a real turnip you were eating out of the ground?
Oh yeah, you had to eat what they gave you. Oh no, this is what the kids ate back then. You got to eat it. Here, have it.
How many takes did you have to do with that? Just one?
I already told the beef jerky one, you know, the first time they gave me beef jerky, I'm not going to eat this. It looks like the bottom of a shoe. And of course, by lunchtime, they had to send the first grip out to go buy more of them because I was just hammering the jerky.
So I'm guessing they weren't sending somebody out to buy more turnips. Huh?
No, they didn't have to do that. And the raw fish, I remember when I had to eat that once. I hadn't quite developed the sushi palate at the time.
Susan Harlan wants to know, which animal was your favorite to work with?
They were all fun. I loved them. I loved when the Panther was on the set. I wasn't supposed to be there when the Panther was on the set, but they actually filmed it outside the fort, because that was always where the wilderness was, and then there was the fort, the big huge sound stage splitting those two. And of course, I'd creep on the sound stage and get up in what was the top of the fort where you would defend the fort from, and I would love working with the Panther. And I remember once he jumped off that rock. Oh, I remember the story. He jumped off that rock onto the back of the cameraman, who was bent over the old camera at the time. There was a cameraman, a camera assistant, and then of course, but he landed on his back and then used him as a step out. And the thing that really saved him is he had a leather jacket on at the time.
Oh my gosh.
I remember that was a big deal at the time. I love it. That's why I love this. It's like watching old home movies and it goes, oh yeah, I remember that.
Did that cameraman need to take the rest of the day off?
Oh, and then they panicked because, they knew I was up there, because then the panther was out of the safety zone and running wild. And so everybody had to, and they were yelling free. Oh, I'm remembering all this now. And they yelled freeze. And there was a guy next to the greens table, which is where you get all your snacks and tea and stuff. And he went and put his hand on the big soundstage door so that nobody could go in or out, even though the lights were flashing. And the panther walked under him. I remember that, with the tail up and just kind of like, and he just froze and it walked right under him and by him. I don't think that panther worked on the set again after that.
Then I think they went to the stock footage after that.
To the stuffed one that was behind us in the pen. That's what happened to Hannibal, but that's another story.
We'll save that for when we watch the Hannibal one.
Yeah. That would be Old Man in the Cave. That was Hannibal's farewell song.
Oh, was it really? Okay. I sort of have seen that one. Stephanie Canoon says, does Darby have any personal pet memories he wants to share? You have a ton of pets though, right?
I grew up with so many animals. I still have a snake in my living room that's my son who moved out, but of course the snake didn't move with him. So what are you gonna do? And anybody wants a nice, about 7-foot Florida rat snake. Florida! Oh, Ginger, I've been thinking what to give you for the new year.
I do not like snakes.
I'll send you pictures of
Send
them.
me Rosebud. Rosebud can live at my house.
Now listen, he's never been fed live food. It's only dead.
That's definitely a deal breaker right there.
So you can't open the door and just let him go, because then he would starve. So that's the only.
He would eat my cats and my dog. That would not be good. That would not end well.
You just have to know that you have to make sure you get the.
I'm sure he'll find a nice home somewhere, but not in Florida at my house. Ellen Diorio says,
please contact.
Ellen Diorio says, I was smiling when you whispered Rosebud, like in the movie Citizen Kane, 1941. That's true. You really did go, Rosebud. When you were calling her to jump over the fence.
That's so fun. I know. Well, and of course I hadn't seen Citizen Kane at the time.
We only have to watch the first 30 seconds. That's what happens in the very first 30 seconds. He whispers Rosebud and he drops a globe on the ground.
Maybe that was the writer's joke. I love it.
Good one, Ellen. I like that one. Carla Kraybom. My aunt and uncle had a small deer at their home when I was growing up. It was so spoiled. The deer had access to the kitchen at feeding time. We used to feed the little one with a bottle. He was so loving, and this episode reminds me of this little deer. Aw, that's nice. Did you have to release it once it grew up, or did you guys get to keep it forever and ever? You have to let us know, Carla, how that story turned out.
There's a part, even with all my raccoons and everything, they, and I lived up in the hills. Great story with the young actress from Land of the Giants. I'll tell that later, when my raccoon ended up in bed with her because she was staying a couple of doors down. But I lived up in the hills of Bel Air, which is above LA. And, and I wasn't good like Israel of keeping a pen and keeping them in. A raccoon, after it gets close to 2, it just, Mother Nature calls and it's like, I'm out of here. So same thing with all, all the other things, like, the chimps that Michael Jackson had and stuff. They get older, they don't get happy being pets.
Well, did you get them all as babies? Like, where would you get them from? Would your mom just bring them home as babies? Like, was it a rescue?
Oh
thing?
yeah,
like,
no.
why?
When I had my baby raccoons, they came as little babies that were so small. I had to feed them with bottles and then use a warm sponge or a rag to wipe down their stomach so they digested, like a mother licking it and stuff. And, I'm glad they're not doing any of this today, but back then you did, and especially doing a show like Daniel Boone, we were around a lot of animal trainers and everything else. I mean, I got into falconry and I think this started off with what's your favorite animal story. I don't have the Haggerty with the condor story, but like I said, I just grew up with so many animals that that would be volume 3, 4, and 5.
Tammy says, you've mentioned your own zoo of critters at home. Were you ever able to use any of your own at work? Well, that's a good question. Were any of your animals in the show?
No, I posted a couple of pictures like it when we had a birthday, Fess and I on the set, and with Ed Ames and myself, and there was the big raccoon, and either Fess or Ed was putting the raccoon on my head. That was mine. That was my pet. It was Bandito. But no, there were the professional raccoons, and there were the professional geese, and sometimes they had to have identical, twins and stuff. So I never pressured any of my animals to work professionally.
Did you get extra pay for animal handling, like actually working with the animals?
No, I'm wondering if I got stunt pay for that fall and trip on what?
What was that all about? That was the lamest fall ever.
Oh, please. Israel, the great frontiersman. Oh, it's a stream.
I don't even think he was at the stream. I think he tripped over a stick. I don't know what he tripped over.
And then tore his pants too at the same time.
Oh, that was funny. My mom's gonna, forget about her. We're running away. I love it.
At least in this picture with Rosey, I have the buttons undone. I'm so buttoned up there. I don't like that at all.
I'm telling you, it's your church clothes. You didn't take them off.
All right, let's see what happens.
Wait. We got a couple more questions. Charles Brown says, so Darby, do you have to use a grape to get your wife to kiss you? Double cheeseburger works on my wife. That's funny. Charles Brown wants to know if you have to use a grape to get your wife to kiss you. You seem to be trained that way.
My wife is basically a vegetarian, so I can tell you, no, that would not work with my wife.
A grape would, a cheeseburger would.
A cheeseburger would definitely not work, yeah.
But a grape might work.
Especially a peeled grape.
Thank you, Stephanie. Her last name is Canoon. Thank you. Okay. Here's Carla's answer. I grew up so fast and would still come in to visit with us. Unfortunately, this precious was killed by someone on my uncle's property. We were all so sad. That was a sad story. We don't want to end with that. And then Ellen, of course, says, did you ever see the movie The Yearling? This episode reminds me of it, which that's what I was thinking, which is funny. It says I researched that because there's a movie out there. The Yearling was written in March of 1938. It was written by a woman, and it actually takes place in 1870s in Florida. Did you know that?
There you go. The one animal that my mom really pushed for Israel to have was an otter, because she loved the otters. She just thought they were so cute and everything.
I thought they were mean.
Well, and then Ring of Bright Water came out too. I remember that was talk about a sad movie. Oh my goodness.
Well, then don't talk about it.
I won't. Well, let's see what happens to the deer. Come on.
Wait, we gotta see if there's any more questions.
Let's see if Daniel blows little Rosebud's brains out.
Okay, we definitely can't end on that note. So I want to say, what was it like to work with Dick Sargent?
Did you notice in the first year of the song in the trailer, Daniel shoots a bear? That was taken out right away because of animal rights thing and stuff. All this would have been.
Oh, really?
Animal rights, yeah.
Oh, how funny that they had that kind of influence.
If you notice in the very first year and stuff, he's.
I guess I did not.
And you did your research. Oh, okay.
I figured somebody would point that out, which I can't believe this is our 7th or 8th episode and you're just pointing it out. But seriously, what was it like to work with Dick Sargent? Because he obviously hadn't done Bewitched yet, had he?
No, he hadn't. And he was very nice. I remember. And I think she's a great actress. His wife in this. I think they're all. But no, nice people, good fun, professional. I was so blessed to work with so many wonderful actors that came through there that wanted to work with Fess, and on the time it was a very hit show.
Did you know that Dick Sargent was actually in my Bob's first movie, Rock'n'Dye Baby? He plays a vampire. No, he plays a werewolf. Whoops, I think I just did the reveal, but with Marilyn Hassett.
There you go. I'll have to look that one up.
And it was one of those deals where Dick was working on Paul Leader's films. And then when he found out Bob was doing his first film, he says, "Do you have a part for me?" And Bob was like, of course I have a part for you. Quickly. When a big star asks you, like you, Darby, do you have a part for me? We have to accommodate. Uh-oh, you went mute on me. We're having all kinds of technical glitches tonight.
There we go. An actor's favorite line. Do you have a part for me? Which I've never been good at saying, so that's...
No, you're not very good at that, but we'll get you better at that. Just kidding. So let's go ahead and finish out our final segment. This one is another 16 minutes long, so we'll wrap up with whatever final questions we have, and then we'll finish up with our special surprise by Rosey Grier. Yeah, there's a couple more questions here, but I'll ask them at the end. So don't think I've ignored your last questions. We'll get them after this last segment. So we'll see you till the end in 16 minutes.
Ma let you in? I dreamed you ran away, Rosebud. But you wouldn't do that, would you? Rosebud, wait! I guess you're just hungry. Me too. There's got to be some wild crab apples or gooseberries around. Wonder how Ma felt when she didn't find me in bed this morning. I'll bet she's sorry. It'll do her a heap of good pining for me. Might learn I ain't to be fooled with. But they'd have missed me last night at supper. That means Pa's after us. We'd better get a move on. Come on. Come on, Rosebud.
Why'd you let me sleep?
2 hours is not much.
You think he'd be trying to make his way to some settlement, some Indian camp?
The closest settlement's Harrodsburg. It's too far. He'd stay clear of the Cherokee, knowing they'd bring him home.
How about the Shawnee?
No, it's not likely. Only if he bumped into a hunting party. And he'd know enough to stay out of their territory.
Then where'll we look?
I figure he'll stay close to water, then head for the high ground. He'll want to be able to see who's coming after him. Have some?
I'm not hungry.
You'd best eat. It may take us all day to catch up.
I can't. Whatever faith that child had was shattered by my silence.
Or strengthened. You lost your corn. That's a wrong that can't be set right by a pat on the head or sugary words.
There was something I could have done.
You're doing it now.
Looks like this fell off a water barrel, maybe. We'd better get off here, Rosebud. This here's the Cumberland Trail. We're just liable to get us caught. Pa showed me how to do this once. It's really a wolf trap, but no reason why I couldn't snare us a rabbit. And right now, I could eat one whole.
Find something?
Wild turnips. Looks like Israel had some supper.
You quit it, Rosebud? I need those to tie the barrel top to the pole. No. It's finished. Now I'll test it. Excuse me. It works, Rosebud. Come on, let's go. All we gotta do now is wait and be still.
Looks like this is where he got in out of the rain.
Resourceful lad. What is it?
Bobcat tracks. It's a big one, too.
Rosebud, look. Hey, wait a minute. I think I busted something, Rosebud. Sure does feel like it. That rabbit. getting on to feeding time at home, Rosebud. Oh, I can just see those dried apples and pumpkins looped across the room. The meat roasting on the spit. Can you smell it, Rosebud? And the bean porridge and the suet pudding and the baked apple dumpling. Right now, I'd go for milkweed or marsh marigold, or anything that was wilted in the root cellar. It'll be dark soon. I'm gonna rest just about another minute. Gather me up some moss to keep cover. Hear those frogs croaking? Sound sad, don't they? Wonder what Genesis is doing. Oh, Genesis. If it wasn't for that old preacher, we wouldn't be out here alone. I don't care if they never find me. Sooner die than go back without you, Rosebud. Come on, Rosebud. Come on. Looks like we got us a painter, Pa, don't it?
That's right, son.
And he was there in the wilderness 40 days, tempted of Satan. And he was with the wild beasts, and the angels ministered unto him. Now that he's gotten his foot taken care of and some food in his belly, I think he'll be all right.
He'll be all right.
Will he understand that?
He's lost her for certain this time. She's no longer a fawn. He's no longer a little boy. But he's ready to go home. Becky!
What is it, Dan?
Looks like we've got company.
You don't suppose Rosebud came back and ate their corn again, do you?
Oh, I don't think so, Israel. I think Rosebud's gone for good. Morning, Pastor. Miss
Good morning.
Cooper.
Morning.
Why don't you come in and join us? I'll put the kettle on for tea.
Oh, I'm afraid we don't have time. We just wanted to...
Don't look at me. This was your idea.
Well, I want to apologize for what I said the last time I was here.
That isn't necessary. You had every right to be upset.
And to tell Israel that I'm sorry his pet is gone. I know I'm responsible for that.
No, ma'am. I always knew I had to let her go someday. Pa says that's a part of growing up.
It's sometimes a very lonesome part. So, if you get too lonely,
Is it for me?
He's all yours if you want him.
If I want him, I can keep him, can't I, Ma? He won't need no pin or anything once I tame him. And I bet you one thing, he won't run off like that Rosebud did. Please say I can keep him, Ma.
Of course you can.
Gee, thank you.
Oh, don't thank me. Thank Polly. She's the one who found him.
Oh, you just take good care of him and don't let him get lonesome. That's thanks enough.
If he ever gets lonesome, all he has to do is snuggle up to Pa's hat. I think I'll go feed him now so he knows he belongs to me.
Israel, one more thing. Would you bring him to church? I might need some more help with my sermon Sunday.
Yes, sir.
You know, I look at that list of names and I saw Hal Goodman, or I think it said Harold Goodman, but we all called him Hal. So now I know his last name. And Marty Moss. Oh, I remember Marty they would have two ADs and they would switch off 1 week to the other because it would take 1 week to prep for a show. So, you know, the week before, the AD would take whoever the director was and they'd go around and look at locations and set it all up. And then when they, you know, we'd go right from one to the other. So they always had two. And Marty was one of them. And he was a guy that wasn't that tall, but he was just built and he loved it. And he worked out and he, you know, pumped and everything else. And one of his things would be, come on, you can hit me in the stomach, hit me in the stomach. And okay, boom, boom, boom. Well, one of the stunt guys took me and said, come here. He said, now, here's how you got to punch. He said, you see, you move this knuckle out just a little bit. And when you come, you want to find the rib cage here and you want to try to lift it up a little bit. And I mean, he's like really telling me, I'm like, okay. And poor Monty said, you know, punch me in the stomach. I'm like, okay. And I went for, and you know, something like this would killed Houdini. But I had no idea. And then I felt terrible because he was like collapsed from a punch from a kid. That punch did serve me well later in life, though, I will say.
Is that a story for another time, or are you going to share that?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's wrap up some of our questions here. Stephanie Canoon says, I love otters. I wish I could have a pet otter.
My mom always thought that would be great too. But can I say again, what was that fall? I mean, they could have.
It was more of a skid. I don't know what that was. And then you had to cut off your boot. I don't know what that was about.
And drag myself across. I mean, they could have at least shown a close-up of a stick or one of those leg grabbing snakes or something. But what a Frontiers kid, twice in the same episode, falls and trips, and this time so bad he does his ankle in.
Well, it's so funny because they cut to the deer and the deer would be like, whatever. Whatever. Oh, he fell again. Whatever.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite line is that rabbit. I was waiting for you to go, that wascally wabbit.
And of course the scenes at the trap and Daniel and the preacher coming to save, those were all on the ranch. And I think a little obvious, day for night. I couldn't tell there, but it
I wasn't gonna ask, but Stacy Schaefer says, my friend in Texas is about to train to rehabilitate otters.
Oh, that's
I didn't know
great.
that was a thing. All right, here we go. Here's your sister, Darren. Just some of our Hinton pets, LOL. Bush baby, white peacock, toucan, many monkeys, pygmy African goat, fox, falcon, hawk, raccoons, snakes, exotic chickens, roosters, ducks, Moluccan cockatoo, snakes, alligators, etc. I can't imagine what's in the etc.
Well, she left out the albino peacock, which was just on the news here for some reason because they spotted one and how rare they were. But we had an all
she said
white
white peacock. She said white peacock.
Oh, she did say. Okay.
She didn't call it an albino. She just said it was white, which
Did
is
I
not
say
politically correct. No.
Did I say a bad word in 2022? Or God, I hope it's 2022.
Fast forward. Give us a break, Darby. It's only what, the 7th day of January. We were still doing pretty good this time last year.
Okay. Yes, we had a menagerie. My mom grew up with very strict German Depression babies. Well, she wasn't allowed goldfish. So when we said we would like an animal, she couldn't say no. And like I said, we were around all the animal trainers and everything else. You know, we knew how to take care of them and stuff. But yeah, our little, fortunately, we had a couple of acres up there in Bel Air, but we had a menagerie.
Yeah, apparently so. Thank you, Darren, for filling us on the list. That was good. Christine,
and once again, I do have a little 7-foot Florida rat snake looking for a home if anybody wants one.
Moving on, Christine, Distal Horse says, okay, what was on your face that Rosebud was licking to make it look like she was kissing you? And Charles Brown says, how did you get him to lick your ear? Did they rub a grape on your ear?
I think it was applesauce, if I remember correctly.
Christine also says, see you in April. Is that the Virginia?
Whatever was
going to be in April?
Coldness. April. Is that the High Chaparral? Is that, I know.
No, that got moved, somebody said.
Yeah, Chaparral got moved to October.
You were going somewhere in April.
I really
apologize. Virginia or something?
Listen, I got to say, especially the darlings here, if you haven't seen me online and stuff a lot, I've really been moving. My son moved out, which gave my wife a place for a new office, and we've given new floors and repainting. And this is really only about the second or third day I've been able to sit down back in my own desk and office. So that's why I haven't been around as much. But why did I say that? Because you were asking me if I knew something, where something.
Well, I was asking what was in April. Do you have an event?
Oh, that's why.
I noticed that your website's up to date, so you do have your showing or your shows are listed in.
I am not up to date on any of it right now, and I do have to go in there and correct some of the dates and do that, and I will. Okay.
So maybe Christine can fill us in. What's he going to see you at in April? Carla says, I really enjoyed this episode. Thank you, Ginger and Darby, for a wonderful evening.
April might be.
Carla, we're glad to see you, and we're glad we made you laugh the other day. What's that?
April might be Virginia style too. Now you have.
I think so. I think that's what I saw on your website.
Yeah.
Your website looked up to date. It didn't have the chaparral thing on it.
You mean I didn't put it on to move it?
Take it off. Nancy Johnson says, you can keep that snake. I'm with you, Nancy. Happy trails, Christine says. Is that Florida. The one in Virginia?
It needs a home in Florida. It's in its name. And you know, during the shut-in, somebody to talk to and nurture.
That's what you're for. It's your snake. You're on lockdown. Do you have anything better to do than to talk to that snake? Okay, Julie Gregg says, was Rosebud as sweet as she seemed, and did it take a lot of acting on her part? Did they have to do a lot of retakes to get her to?
Oh yeah, whenever you're working with animals, it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. That's why Hannibal's last one was Old Man in the Cave, because he took 32 takes once to walk out of the bush and walk over to me, and I had a pile of food about this big by my foot, but he wouldn't. He'd take a few steps, freeze, go back, and the director just lost his mind. I think we had goose for lunch the next day, and
told that goose he'd never work in this business again.
we actually finished that episode with a stuffed goose. We did. There was a couple of shots at the end. They're like, no, that goose never came back to the set after that. That was.
How come you didn't adopt it? Sounds like it could have had a home at the Hinton house. You couldn't talk your mom into that one, huh?
As mad as that director was, I hope that goose made it home safely that day.
Oh my goodness. Wait. Okay. Charles Brown says that I could adopt the snake and name it Darby. Charles is funny tonight. I don't know. Charles thinks he's our comedian. Tammy says, love snakes. My son has a few. I'll ask him about the rat snake. I have one of his custom enclosures in my garage. You might have found a home.
Nice. I made a nice enclosure for him. Took an old armoire and
converted it. Darby and Ginger, have a blessed evening, and thank you for another wonderful evening. Always look forward to Daniel Boone night. That was Pamela Riley Pavkovich. Well, thank you, Pamela, and thank you to everybody that showed up. We ended up with a number 22.
Thank everybody. I really appreciate it. It was fun. A great trip down memory lane. It was great getting to talk to Rosey earlier today. I love this song he's going to sing us out with. Ginger, thank you. You kept it fun and light as always.
Yes, just so everybody knows. So in 2 weeks, we are probably not going to do Daniel Boone, but we'll do something special that we've been talking about. So we'll be getting you guys details on that. We're going to try and be better about her every 2 weeks. I'm also talking with some people. We're trying to put together a legacy, bring some awareness to the Johnny Crawford fund that might be probably in the beginning of February, where we'll also finish with a special screening of Wayne Shipley's movie, The Marshal, with special Q&A by you guys, whoever Darby can wrangle.
And The Marshal is Bill Tillman and the Outlaws, just for anybody that knew it by that name.
So if you have not seen it, I think he just released a new version with a bunch of behind the scenes and special features that is available on their website, One Eyed Horse. And I think he said that $2 from each sale is going to the Johnny Crawford Fund. So if somebody hasn't purchased it yet and would like to purchase it and get some pluses, plus stuff, now's your chance.
You know what I'll do too, for the darlings that are watching this stuff, if they want, I actually have some copies of these picture behind me of me and Rosey. If you want, I'll take $5 off those if anybody wants to grab them off the website. Is
that one already up, or are you going to have to come up with a clever code again?
There. No, I think it's there, but I think we have to come up with a code now for it.
Not we, you. But you learned last time, so I know you can do it. I believe in you, Darby. I believe in you.
You know what? Because it's the message of the night. It's because what we want to send out there. The code is love.
No, here you go. Question mark Rosebud.
Question mark Rosebud.
Stephanie Canoon says your code should be snake. Darby the snake. No, like Jake the snake. No, I'm kidding.
How about love?
Okay, well, it's your code. You can put it.
That's it. Love. Put in love. Now I got to go in and put that in. So
now you have to remember what it is. Just let everybody know what it is.
Give me an hour or so. But because that's the message of the night, that's what we're trying to spread. The code would be love. I'll put that in.
My goodness. Well, as usual, we appreciate everybody who comes and participates. We are going to finish up with this special message or special song by Rosey Grier, but like a quick message and then a song. So we won't be back after to say our goodbyes. So this is Darby and I's goodbyes for 2 weeks. And
do that slow and my hand disappeared.
As always, be kind to each other. Go out and do something nice for somebody else. And what are your parting words, Darby? It's your night.
Spread the love. Spread the love. That's all I can say.
Doesn't get any simpler than that.
It's the answer. It's like I said before, I got to study all the religions, and it's in every religion. Love is the answer. If you come from it from an understanding instead of, it's better to be kind than to be right. Wayne Dyer, I thought, was a great teacher that I enjoyed extremely. And that was one of his sayings, it's better to be kind than to be right. That doesn't mean you have to change your beliefs. That doesn't mean that you have to, but it just means be kind and see what happens. And I do think the president-elect came out, and I'm not talking politics at all, but I think he said it right. When we do things together, we can accomplish anything. And I think that was some of the things that Boone would talk about. Here we have a slave and a little white boy, and we have a preacher and all, and they come together, which was always the American way, to come together to solve all problems. And okay, I am going to say it. Unfortunately, it started with the pandemic, where all of a sudden it was where we wouldn't come together to simply wear a mask to help other people, not only ourselves, but other people. And that was too much to ask. And this whole divisiveness, it has to stop. It's just not helping anybody. And boy, that's my message. And I hope I presented it in a positive way, because that's my own golden rule. But my own golden rule is, together we can do anything. Love is the answer. We will get through this. It's been a terrible time that generations will talk about that we're living through, but we will get through this.
So it's up to us to go out and be kind to each other. Starts one at a time.
Like you just said it. Be kind to each other. Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
All right, here's our final video from Rosey Grier, and then we will see you all in 2 weeks. So good night, Darby.
Love you. Night.
So did you get the song?
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
What? Tell me about the song.
Well, I'm not sure if I thought I wrote it, but I'm not sure. So I don't want to say that I wrote it. So I said a good song, but I don't know if I wrote it or not. But I love that song. His words are so miraculous. Good.
Good. Well, if you wrote it, I'm sure it's good. I can't wait to hear it.
Or we're just not sure that he wrote it.
Oh.
So we're not claiming that.
Okay.
Just that it's one of his favorite songs to sing.
But this is one you sang. When did you record this?
In the 60s.
In the 60s.
Oh, okay. I loved when I got to go on your variety show. That was fun. I think I had to do a little chorus dancing or something with that.
Do you remember what year that was?
I can't remember what year this is.
Hello, Darby. This is one of my favorite tunes called Ring Around the World. You should love this.
Get your paper, read all about it. 1,000 died in a war somewhere, and Mrs. Carter campaigns harder to plant lilies in the courthouse square. Everybody's in the race to make this world a better place, but only love can build a ring around this world. 5 o'clock news, students riot, old people march on weary feet, while city council issues a statement deploring litter on the city streets. We all seem so far apart, no one knows just where to start, but only love can build a next year, the empty